to where you're going to get a juicy news story. So you pretend to be a nanny when you're really a stringer for the AP or UPI. You know, you pretend that you're going to be a lab tech when you're really Lois Lane trying to do an expose on Lex Luthor. See, that was one of your quiz questions. Walk through all these possible things. And for that one, your clues are that they lie about who they are, their background, their employment history. So if misrepresentation is being implicated, look for the person to be lying about themselves in order to get invited in. Trespass was another one of those torts. That's basically being where you are not allowed. Trespassory means without permission. In this context, they're talking about sneaking onto somebody's property. So for this one, look for that. Somebody sneaking onto somebody's property in order to peek through the windows and take some sneaky pictures, right? Somebody breaking into their house when they're not there and planting a camera. There are other crimes that are involved in that, but certainly you have at least trespass. So look for being somewhere without permission to implicate trespass. So we've got harassment, trespass, fraud, misrepresentation. Are we missing any of these? Excuse me?
Appropriation.
Ah, oh yeah, we'll get to those too. Appropriation they're talking about is when you use somebody's likeness, name, image without their permission. It's typically for commercial purposes, although there are a couple of cases where they don't even require that. Yes, sir.
So is there a case for appropriation when the New York Times published that ad?
Which ad?
The ad that we talked about for the...
Heed Their Rising Voices?
Yeah, that one.
Probably not. Well, it depends.
Signatures on it?
Yeah, there might have been an appropriation case for the signatories, but the case the Supreme Court got, the issue they got, no, there was no appropriation issue in that. But yes, they used people's signatures without permission, implying an endorsement that did not actually exist.
But those people would have a case if they took that.
Those people might have a case. And as I said, it's might, usually it's likeness, but if they include the name and it's worth something, usually they require some commercialization, some kind of profit. So, as I said, might. And
so someone could use your signature if it didn't profit them anything, maybe off the hook. Is that what you're saying, basically?
I don't want to say they can use it. I'm just going to tell you that the case for appropriation typically requires commercialization and profit. And the thing is, you can almost always make a monetary argument, because you could say that, yeah, they may not have made any money off my signature, but I lost money because they put it there, or I could have made money had I been allowed to sell my endorsement, because people sell endorsements all the time. Related to the same issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember the Michael Jordan issue with the Utah Flash? Where
no,
they told
tell
everyone
me,
that he was.
Oh, yeah.
They told everyone that he was going to play Brian Russell one-on-one.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't the real Michael Jordan that showed up.
I worked for the Flash.
But they like sold out the arena.
Yeah. So it was a Michael Jordan, but not the
It was like
Michael
a
Jordan.
look-alike Michael Jordan. Is that the same? Is that?
Oh, did he sue them? Was he mad?
I don't know. That's what. Is that what
he
this
could
is
have
talking
if
about?
they were trying to make it seem like it was him. The problem
They even
is,
had someone say they like spotted him at a local restaurant and like.
Yeah, they had him going around with bodyguards and like a limo and stuff around town.
Oh my gosh, people do that sort of thing out here.
Is that
There's
what
no problem
this is?
in being a celebrity lookalike. I mean, people get paid to do that, and if you're the celebrity they're mimicking, it's kind of an honor, even if you're not dead. You know, there's a whole Vegas, show, all kinds of shows that are just made up of lookalikes, and not just Elvis, who's dead, but people who are still alive. They have Barbra Streisand and Diana Ross and Dolly Parton. Usually they're guys in drag, but that's not even, that's beside the point. The point is, there are celebrity impersonators, and every one of those shows tells people it's a celebrity impersonator, and not the actual celebrity.
Is this appropriation though? Because they
So
sold out the
it could very well be
stadium.
appropriation. It could even be fraud. Like you could have every one of those people in that audience suing to get the price of their ticket back.
The thing is they never said that he was coming.
They just
They never said it was the Michael Jordan?
No, so I mean, I worked for them, and I went thinking that he was there.
Yeah, so even you didn't know.
Yeah,
They tricked you.
But they never told anyone. They just put this look-alike around town with bodyguards in a limo, and they just had. But they never said that he was coming. It was all just, hey, he might come or whatever. And then he showed up, and they were all like,
what about the one-on-one?
well,
what about the one-on-one with Russell?
He didn't do a one-on-one. He just came out, and Russell was like, "Is that you? Is that you?" And he's like, "No, it's not you." And then that was it. It was the stupidest thing ever. I stopped working.
No, but the rumor that was going around, was it a rumor or were they actually advertising?
No, there was a
advertised.
statement that someone had challenged him. That Brian.
Oh
Russell
yeah,
had challenged.
that was true. That
So
they
Brian
did
Russell
challenge
challenged him.
Yeah, Michael Jordan did get a challenge from Brian Russell, but they never said that Michael Jordan was coming. They just said there was the challenge out there, and they didn't know.
What would be like just a clear-cut example of appropriation?
Well, but that could very well be as close as I've come across in real life. I mean, you can make them up. What are some other ones? The desire to avoid the tort of appropriation is why every time when you hear a celebrity sound-alike voice on the radio, you'll hear that little voice at the end that says, "Wait, celebrity impersonators," and that super fast voice that you hear all that talk in. Or you'll hear the, celebrity impersonators, or the celebrity was impersonated. You'll hear that in the radio ad so that they can avoid being sued for appropriation. Or you'll have somebody like Frank Caliendo who does great voices, like Rich Little was the impressionist, of my generation. They don't look anything like the people. So there's no question. And they just do a stage show in which they mimic their voices and their attributes and try to do them. There's no appropriation problem there. You know it's Frank. You know it's not actually George Bush. It's Frank Caliendo doing his voice. It's not actually Vincent Price. Well, he's now dead. But it's somebody else doing his voice. And as long as you're aware, then you're going to be okay. So if you want to worry about an appropriation thing, you're going to look for using somebody's name or likeness without their permission.
Celebrity endorsement without permission.
Yeah, you could see a celebrity endorsement thing, but for a clue in a question, just look for people's likenesses or images being used without their permission in some way. Then that's a clue that maybe we're getting into an appropriation question.
Did you say that it has to be for commercialization? They have to make a profit off of it?
Well,
I actually heard one recently. Was
Sure.
There was some sandwich that was Jimmer's favorite sandwich, and I don't think Jimmer complained about it.
What's that?
But I heard it on the news. I didn't hear anything about about misappropriation, but my brain was going when I heard it on the news. There was some guy saying, or a pizza. No, it was a pizza.
It was pizza in Glens Falls. It was a pizza place.
Yeah, and it was on KSL, and he was on KSL saying, if you come in and ask for the Jimmer, it will be this pizza with tomatoes or whatever. And to me, maybe he did call Jimmer and ask permission, but if he didn't, that would have been a clear misappropriation.
well, but there's other things too, because there's food that they've named after someone. And so there's kind of a line, but yes, celebrity people, if you're implying that someone famous is endorsing your stuff and they have it, you're in appropriation. Yeah.
What about commercials that you think it's a commercial for something else, and then you realize, oh, it's really for such and such company?
That's just a bad commercial.
No, it is. But like, would that come close? Like, could you get legal problems as well?
No. Here's the thing. Sometimes you have tricky ads, right? Like one of my husband's favorite examples of this is when tobacco companies got slammed and they had to pay all these judgments or do consent decrees, and one of the things they agreed to do was to do some public service stop smoking ads. And those were the worst stop smoking ads I've ever seen. They basically made you want to smoke. And you can tell, oh, that's a tobacco company stop smoking ad, because it has nothing to do with stopping smoking and everything to do with how you're a rugged individual and you have all your own autonomy and you can make your own choices. So I choose not to smoke, which basically says if you choose to smoke, you're just as valid and individual and strong. Yeah.
As we're studying for this test, do you have any suggestions in terms of like certain chapters we should look at more closely than others, or certain sections, or maybe more about notes we took in class than the book?
I think the best thing to do is, you'll know what I emphasized in class based on what your topics were for your quizzes. So when it comes to those topics, then you should go to your book, to the chapter on that topic, and make sure that you understand the, at the very first page, they have the chapter outline there in the margin. Look at that. If you can look at that and read those words and topics and know what they're talking about, you're going to be good.
Okay.
There are a couple of kind of evil specific things, and let's see, what's my most evil specific type of question? We've covered a few Supreme Court cases in class by name, and there have been a few of them in your textbooks, and we're going to get in advertising, there'll be a couple more cases. The New York Times versus Sullivan and those advertising cases that'll be for tomorrow, you should basically know the holdings of just like the big Supreme Court cases. And it's not all of them, it really is the ones we cover in class. So that means the ones we emphasized, every chapter has a